Welcome to Keep Stream Skip Podcast. All right, we're good. We're recording.
Yay!
Ready when you are.
Oh, that's me.
No, I'm just.
I was like, we're
We
jumping.
can
I was
start it
like-
whenever
I
because
was
we're
like,
editing.
normally you're the one who's like says the intro
Yeah.
stuff.
Go for it, Nick. You're on.
Welcome back to Butch Babes in Outer Space, the review.
Wait,
Ooh.
what?
So,
I didn't watch that movie.
I wish I watched that movie. Where can I find that?
in the monthly magazine, Butch Sluts.
What was the book sheet?
Was it that? Those-
No, it was Macho Sluts.
Macho
Sluts.
Damn, I was trying to remember it too. That's why the pause. Ah,
Macho Sluts.
take two.
Macho
Butch Babes for-
sluts.
All
Try
right,
it again.
so
The joke didn't land. Damn it.
laugh, please laugh. So welcome to Keep Stream Skip. My name is Nick, and with me is Samantha and Juliana.
Hi.
This is the second part to our Valentine's Day episode. If you haven't seen the first part, it doesn't really matter because we're just doing two new films. And if you don't know us from our first season on the podcast, which is pretty much everybody but 12 people, this is how we do
Yes.
things. We go ahead and we don't tell each other how we review a film or what we're going to review it rather. And then we come together on the podcast and go over all sorts of things like screenplay, direction, acting, and cinematography, special effects, score. And then we decide at the end, giving it an overall score and whether or not we would recommend keeping it or skipping it or just streaming it. And so for today's theme for Valentine's Day, we kind of turned up the heat and looked at erotic thrillers.
Yeah. Not Baby Cat though.
We should have rewatched Baby Cat is what we should have done.
Yeah.
Erotic thrillers.
Yeah.
If you go to our first episode ever, Baby Cat is I think everybody recommended at least watching it once.
Yep.
Yep.
Or more than once. Meow.
So the cat in this movie licked up the blood.
Oh my god, the vampire
so-
cat.
There's
So
like
what
a-
we're reviewing
there's like
today-
a theme about that or
Yeah.
something.
What we're
Game
reviewing.
night dog. What is wrong with your ear?
Everything.
Every time. We should start a little counter every time the headphone falls out.
Oh boy.
I love it.
That's
Alright,
okay. We'll
so-
just skip it through.
Yeah.
So the
The first film today,
first film.
Love Lies Bleeding.
And today is
There are no commas. Nick.
February 2nd, 2025.
I thought I already said that.
No, I don't think so.
I didn't?
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe I wasn't listening. I don't know. That's a high
I don't know, we don't-
possibility
we
for
It's
me.
2025
We
February
do
2nd,
spoilers though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do spoilers.
We spoil.
So just
Be
remember
warned.
that.
Not like moldy meat though. Spoil.
What?
It's
Oh.
like the good kind of spoil.
Speak for yourself. Anywho, so this is a 2024 film, rated R. It is labeled a lot of things: thriller, crime, romance, erotica,
Romance thriller.
It's also labeled
space opera. No, I'm kidding.
Kristen Stewarty.
Kristen Stewart. That is the genre.
Sci-fi. They should put sci-fi in there.
Yeah. Written by Rose Glass and Nick.
Veronica Tefilska.
Thank you. And also directed by Rose Glass. With actors like Kristen Stewart, Jenna Malone, Dave Franco, Katie O'Brien. I don't know how to say Anna's last name. Barry Schnikoff.
I didn't even write it down, so I
You
don't
did
know
it. You could've
who
said
else you're
anything.
listing.
That was Daisy.
Because I was about to be
You
like,
could've
it's
really
just
said
called.
anything.
I should. Confidence is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. But where would we be if we didn't mispronounce at least one name?
Yeah.
That's
what would
tradition.
we be doing here?
Right.
So, you can find it on Max. And this one was actually a recommendation from my buddy Louie to watch this one.
Shout out to Louis.
Shout out Louie. Thank you. This was something. The budget was $2.5 million and it grossed $12 million.
Wow, it's such a small budget.
Yeah, 2.5, right?
They had Ed Harris in it.
I know.
Like,
I know.
He must have took up half of the budget.
Yeah, with his extensions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that fun fact. I was
Yeah,
like, that's funny.
Where he bought him as a joke, and then they decided to keep it in the film.
We love it. And he's like, all right.
Oh, really?
Guess I'll do that.
It
I
worked.
guess I'll be wearing this.
it kind
the
of worked
whole
for
time.
his character, so.
Oh, yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
Really
he really did pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy.
So, anywho, how does this film open up?
Mm-hmm.
By her. Trying
Go
to
on.
get something out the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it was clogged.
Yeah, Kristen Stewart fucking elbow deep in,
And gym shit.
and I'm gonna guess since it's a
Yeah.
women's bathroom, it was like tampons and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, before the please don't flush these.
Yeah.
Just elbow deep in menstrual trash in the toilet.
Yeah.
Cleaning that up.
Yep.
We love it.
The sound effects were very ASMR.
And then there was
Oh my
like,
god, the sound effects in this film made me want to freaking die. Okay? I'm gonna
yeah.
just preface that. If you're sensitive to
different-
sounds.
And then that's when we meet Daisy, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Because Daisy's super clingy, very
Doesn't get the hint.
icky. Ex current fling something.
I think she wanted
booty
to be.
call.
Those teeth.
Those teeth, man.
I think she wanted to be with Kristen Stewart.
right with Lou.
Jackie.
Louis. Lou. Yeah, Daisy definitely wanted Lou's.
Attention.
Well, more than that.
So gross, though. It just reminded me of in Kingpin, the landlady, because of her teeth and stuff. And, yeah.
Listen, I'm such like normally things. I'm not super shallow about a lot of stuff. Teeth, though, teeth is one of them. Teeth are just like, ugh, if you don't have good dental care,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that anywhere near my downstairs area. Who knows what diseases
Or
those
anywhere.
teeth have? I
So
know.
it's like, I don't know. It's just so gross.
Yeah.
The only other thing that was maybe on the same level of the gross was the foot.
Oh my god, the foot.
Just all over that. Kristen Stewart just taking a lot for the team unless she likes that stuff.
Is that, feet don't bother certain people, I suppose.
Yeah.
I thought this
But
was a
anyway.
safe space.
But anyway.
No. No,
I'm
not for
just
that.
kidding. Not for feet.
Moving on.
Oh my gosh. So we also get introduced to
Jackie.
played by Katie O'Brien, as she's getting railed by Dave Franco in the
Right. JJ.
Yeah, really
in the
extreme
Camaro.
close up on his face as he's coming. It's just like,
Yeah.
really, dude?
Yeah.
That's
I
so
honestly
gross.
didn't even recognize him as Dave Franco until he sat back down in like the seat after he'd finished. I was like, holy shit, that was Dave Franco's face.
That crappy mullet.
I was like, ugh.
So
Okay. Ick.
So gross.
But we find out she is homeless, hitchhiking, extremely ripped.
Damn.
advocating for homelessness, are we?
That's what those dams were for the homelessness. Oh yes.
The abs and so on.
Yes, I love when
Abs.
women want to stay with me.
When women need a home. Really gets
So is
me
it like
going.
dating for you all as like on that side is just fishing at that point? Is that what we're getting at? You're just like, I threw out my little lure here and I got one with abs. Like,
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get, really. Yeah, and back then it's like I'm sure there was like a are you? I don't know, but they just kind of went for it. We love
Yeah,
that.
they did.
yeah.
Yeah. Which you later find out that JJ is actually married to Beth,
Right,
played
because they're
by
having dinner, and Beth is Lou's sister.
right, because
Yeah.
we see Lou go to Beth's house where JJ is, right?
Hmm.
Right. But before all that, you have like the scene where they really meet. Like she's seeing her work out.
Right.
And then they go, afterwards. They're in that parking lot because they started a conversation a little bit. Then those two
and
dudes
then those
roll
two
up.
dudes come out.
Oh yeah, and then Jack. That's when we
Jackie
get to see
fucking-
Jackie's like.
She like
Do it again.
got to see her, and like, what's that describing in the scene?
No, I was just thinking about.
This part. I think
No,
that's what we're
I
talking
wasn't
about.
thinking
This
about-
part.
I was thinking about the
I
more.
think Sam was thinking about this part.
Yeah, like I'm like, wait a minute.
I didn't even notice. Okay, all I noticed was she like took just to the guys.
Right hook.
So yeah, because he makes a joke that's homophobic or whatever, basically
Right.
saying like, Kristen Stewart's character, like, she's and she's like, oh really? And then when he keeps on keeping on, she socks him in the face. So
Yeah.
So you get
right
to
in the
see
and
her.
then he hits
And then
her
he
back.
stalks her back, and his buddy's like, "Oh my god, that's a girl.
Yeah, and Kristen Stewart's like, it's not worth it. Just stop.
Let's go.
Just stop.
Let's go."
Well,
play
and
now."
then I think that's a very pivotal moment because then we start to see her rage without her induced drugs yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
that
we
she's
know
got
that she's
a
got some
trigger
anger
kind of anger
issues.
problems, right?
Yeah, because later on, Kristen Stewart introduces her to the
To the roids,
juice,
to the juice,
gearing up.
which
And at first she was
Ooh.
like, "No, I don't do it. I'm not gonna do it." And then
It's like you're mocking her.
chocolate. Well, and then
That's
Lou's
right,
like,
kids. You just do that stuff. Don't
"No,
be.
don't do that."
no. Well, she wasn't. I feel like she originally wasn't going to do it, not because it was drugs, but because she thought she would have to pay for it. And then when Kristen Stewart was like, "Oh no, you don't have to pay for it," but then again,
Just do a little.
With
whose
money.
fault is all of this? Kristen Stewart. Lou.
Well,
Who
remember
got her into the drugs.
the money part. I thought she said that that's what they had left over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I was saying, like, she said, you don't have to pay for it. And I said, with money.
Oh.
Because it's an erotic thriller.
And then she didn't have to pay with for money.
No.
Right.
No. That long pause is brought to you by Juliana dry humping the air.
You're welcome.
Those of you who are watching this, you just got to see that.
You just spilled the beans.
Is Toby okay? Is he doing okay during this? He moved to the other side. All right.
Okay.
So
He's done.
after that, that's when we get eventually the date or whatever was going on.
Right. I think wasn't that the night when they were doing the roids?
I think it was the next night. Like
They did roids, and then they went on. Are you talking about the double date?
Oh.
Kinda thing?
yeah, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where she was.
Yeah.
Well, this is after we're forgetting the fact that Jackie got a job at Lou's dad's gun.
Oh, that's right.
range.
Yeah, through
Right.
Franco.
Through JJ.
Yeah.
who she slept with in the beginning.
Right. Right. Because that's something. Because then even Lou was like, "Oh my god, you work for my dad? Don't work
Don't do
there.
it. Don't
Yeah.
do
Do that." Because her dad is like some crazy.
Well, he's an arms dealer.
Well, and
Right.
the day before or something, FBI contacts her and he's like, "Oh, where's your dad? I don't talk to my dad. Well, where's your mom? Haven't seen her. Well, do you know what your dad does? No, I have no clue. Here's my card. Call me."
right. FBI.
Yeah.
On a
That was
little
good. That was
paper
pretty much
card.
it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That was a
A
good
lot of
reenactment.
foreshadowing,
So then,
especially with the stars and stuff.
right.
Fun fact about the foreshadowing. Very early on in the film, on the TV, did you guys notice what was playing?
No.
It was Gulliver's Travels
Oh yeah.
with the giant.
And he was all
picking
tied
the
up.
Little...
Oh.
snap.
Okay.
Yeah, the part where Samantha was like, tickle him.
That comes at
Tickle
the
him.
end, okay? That comes at the end.
Spoiler.
We'll get there.
If we ever get there.
Was there some tickling? We're gonna find out. Anywho, so we get what, like, kind of, we have the double date with
Yeah.
Beth, who's very clearly being beaten by
Right.
JJ, like
Yeah.
black eye, very
fearful,
right,
kind
scared.
of like, "Oh, let me cut your food because you're gonna beat me if you don't later."
Right, and then she
I don't
drops on his pants, and he gets fucking pissed, and then Lou goes and talks with him, being like, if you fucking touch her, keep touching her, see what happens.
Right.
And then he mentions
Fuck
that he
around
had
and
slept
find
with
out.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Whole mess. It got messy.
Got really
Okay,
messy.
the tea is spilled, all right, and it was not good.
So then, of course, you see her driving home with Jackie, and Lou driving home with Jackie, and Lou is like pissed off clearly because she's like, "How you sleep with men?"
Right, you're not gay. Jackie's like, I sleep with both.
And then
It's called
I
bi.
and I slept with him because I needed a job.
The biphobia is for real in this film. Jesus.
So then they kiss and make up. Oh, that's when they have their
That
night.
was.
Their night.
Their night.
Their night.
Their night.
I like that. Then they kiss and make up. Erotic thriller.
There was a lot of erotica in the film, and a lot of roids.
Right.
And
Erotica.
that horror. Ha! That was good.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah. We love it. Although, let me tell you, as the film was progressing, that like pit of anxiety in my stomach just kept growing, and I don't think there was a single point in which I felt like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
No.
you just knew the impeding doom that some shit was gonna go down.
Right. Because Jackie is training for a bodybuilding competition in Vegas. And so, you know, the entire time we're thinking, oh, she's going to get disqualified because of the roids. Oh, the roid usage is getting so bad. She's starting to like kinda go a
Hallucinate.
little crazy. And then it gets to the point where Beth gets her shit beat bad.
That was a headbutt. Irish kiss.
Beth.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Beth. Oh,
Beth.
sorry. I thought you were talking about Kristen
Beth.
Stewart.
Yeah, I was like, and you just made that comment
Tis
about Beth.
but a head wound.
She ended up in the
Her
hospital.
entire like left side of her face is beat the shit out of, and Nick's like, it was just a headbutt.
I got my scenes confused.
Okay, we're not laughing at this. We're laughing at the
Dang it.
mistake.
The mistake. No.
Yeah, so she gets a phone call in the middle of the night, right? And is like, come to the hospital. And then Beth is just like,
Oh, it's bad. Does not look good.
Yeah.
Like the entire left side of her face is just beaten and swollen and bruised and
right.
the
split.
effects were really good.
Yeah.
in this.
And like you could see Lou just getting like really like, I'm gonna fucking kill this motherfucker. And like the dad's like, no, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want that to happen.
Great.
We'll just get him arrested.
You gotta respect her wishes.
Right.
Respect your wishes. I'm sorry.
Well,
I don't think if my dad knew that was going on, then he wouldn't even respect my wishes in that case.
No.
well, that's the thing. It's like it was more about like, yeah, we gotta respect her wishes because it could lead back to me. So
Right.
that was like the big thing.
Oh, well, that's true because like when he went missing, they went straight to him
Right.
and they were like, "Yeah, this doesn't look good. They're gonna suspect you."
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, "I had nothing to do with it. I don't even know what
This
happened."
time.
This one isn't mine.
This one isn't mine. I don't know.
It's all the other cars down there.
Right. But I mean, the roid rage that Jackie got on Lou's behalf
Right.
led her to go and fuck
It was.
fuck him up.
I don't even know, like the jaw.
So what happened was a couple of punches, then she grabs him
His
and then starts
table,
shoving his mouth
table,
against the
table.
table repeatedly. And by shoving, I mean slamming. And what it did is busted out his teeth, then eventually got to his jaw, cut through his mouth all the way to the hinge of the jaw
Like,
until the
his
jaw
jaw
was
was just,
basically
like,
broken off.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like attached by some sinew and flesh and whatnot. So if you're not into gore, this may be a point where you can't
Oh, yeah.
handle it. But this was really good.
It was
I
very
thought
good.
it was awesome.
It was brutal, but it was
Yeah.
wow. It was very good.
And it was consistent. You know, like they didn't have his eye coming off because they hit her jaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And it was mostly CG from what I could tell.
Yeah. I would hope so.
Yeah.
That was actually Dave Franco's jaw. Fun fact.
I mean, it could have been.
I do my own
Been
stunts.
practical.
Have we seen him in anything since?
It's like
Allegedly.
another. Yeah. It's not a found footage film. Okay, we don't know.
Right. That we know of.
So then, what's her name has, like she's in shock. Lou comes and finds her and realizes, oh shit, this just happened.
Right. God, the shock of like Lou turning on the lights and being like, oh my God. That was really good. Because I was with her and I already knew what she would see. I was like, oh my God. Jump scare. Ooh. And then, yeah, Jackie in the bathtub freaking out.
Yeah, she was like catatonic.
Right. Still high as hell.
Still high. Then they roll her.
It's Reefer Madness, but with like roids.
Right.
Then, of course, like, I feel like at this point, and I don't know, I've never been in this situation, but I feel like at that point I would have called the cops and said that, like, he attacked me or, like, I just found him like this. But what they do is take him to a secondary location.
I mean, he's got a mullet like that he
Secondary
does. I would have just been like, yeah, he was going to show me this cool trick with a firework, and now this.
So crazy.
Could just look at his like mullet and be like, it checks out.
Right. But I mean, Lou obviously has had experience cleaning up a scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she goes right to work. Well, first of all, she locks Jackie in her apartment. And then she goes to work after they dump the body.
Right, in the canyon.
Yes, where Lou knows to go because that's where her daddy dumps all of his dirty work.
But continue.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Jackie's locked in the apartment.
Oh, and then she busts out the window because she's like, nobody holds me back.
Because she just took a shit ton of roids and then was like,
I need to go to the gym.
nobody puts Jackie in a house.
And then somewhere in between there was like the very, very gross foot scene.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that.
Somewhere there. It's just
we don't have to talk about that.
See, the worst part for me would be like if I was trying to do pull-ups and somebody lit a flame under my feet, I'd be very mad. I'd be like, I don't care who the fuck you are.
I'd be kicking them.
Fuck you. Ow. The bottom of your feet are so sensitive.
So don't do that at the gym.
Yes. Yeah, I fucking hate it when you do that. So. Anywho.
I just the imagery. I just keep on
get
coming
the feet
back
out
to
of
the
your
imagery.
head, Nick.
Ugh.
Okay, so they
worse
commit
than
that
the face.
crime. They try to keep it on the DL, but then on the way to the secondary location, what's her name? Not Allison.
No. Daisy.
Daisy sees Lou driving JJ's car.
And Jackie driving Lou's truck.
And of course she was jealous because she's like, why is she driving your truck? Why can't I drive your truck?
She wants to drive all the trucks.
So they not only do they have a living witness of what their crime was,
but
allegedly.
Daisy's also a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's so like, what are the chances though? That's the thing. That's the only thing that really bothered me was that out of nowhere interruption. I'm like, really? Right now? What are the chances?
It's a small town.
It is a small town.
Yeah.
Daisy seems a bit stalkerish.
She's having to catch her on the street.
She also may be
red
homeless as well. Kristen Stewart may have a type.
Maybe she had a tracker on her truck.
Yeah,
and
she had an
that's how
Apple
she
tag.
Knew.
Like 1989.
She stuck one in her pussy the last time.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh God. All right.
Okay, so then shit goes down.
There goes any Apple sponsorships.
That's how well it works.
Shit goes down, and Jackie gets to Nevada to do her bodybuilding competition. Totally like
She's in
she
withdrawals.
suffered withdrawals, I guess.
Yeah.
And
The sounds her muscles make, though. No, she's not in withdrawal. She took some at the.
Well, later on she did.
I guess she did.
Yeah, because she was all like messed up, and
yeah,
then
she
finally
was.
yeah, and finally
getting
then
out of the van.
she like
puts her
shot
between her
herself up, and then
toes.
she's like, "Oh, I'm
Right.
gonna-"
Push up, push up. The sounds her muscles make the entire time she's on roids is fucking disgusting. I just want to point that out. It's anti ASMR. Mm-mm. I hated it. Every second of it. Every time.
So then she's doing well, and then all of a sudden she starts hallucinating all this shit going on.
That was a bad trip, man.
I think it's
It
violently
was done
ill.
very well.
Yeah. It
It
was
was
really cool.
terrifying.
Like, she was on the stage and like, all right, she got it together. You know,
She's
she's going to hold
finally
out.
There. She's
And
got
then-
it.
But what
And
I
then-
thought was cool was when you couldn't hear, you were kind of hearing how she was hearing things, which was
Yeah,
like very
yeah.
muffled,
you couldn't
very,
hear shit.
you know, like what are they saying? And
Right. Though I think the worst part of that was when she was throwing up Kristen Stewart.
yeah, with KY jelly all over her.
Yeah. It's terrifying, bro. I
I
was like,
do too would be disgusted if I threw up Kristen Stewart.
yeah.
You're like, oh no, it's one of these days. You got another.
Oh, jeez.
That would be something for Rick and Morty. A Kristen Stewart vomiting gun. Just shoots him and throws him.
And it's just Kristen Stewart.
All right, guys. That's my episode idea.
Yeah.
Heard it right here, trademarked.
Trademark. But yeah, the rest of it, she throws up, and then she goes on she sees the girls in the background looking like fucking aliens and stuff,
Yeah,
and then she goes and beats the crap out of one of them and gets
so then
arrested.
She gets arrested.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she tries to call Lou, but
Right.
Daisy's at Lou's house.
Right, and of course
She
Daisy
doesn't want to see you.
being a
doesn't
psycho
wanna
bitch, and you know,
see
just
ya.
like that
I
movie
don't
cliche of the girl, you know, who you didn't want to be answering the phone, answers their phone because Daisy, she's like, she doesn't want to see you. Click.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell Kristen Stewart anything, you know, so she's left in-
butt ass Nike.
Oh, that little dance she does. I'm like, oh, you could tell she doesn't. Like, you could smell. You could smell what's
Yeah.
going on there.
He's the team.
Very visceral film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, it's supposed to be an erotic thriller. And there's parts of it where you're just
There's
like,
parts of it where it's like, ooh, and then there's parts that are like, ooh, no.
90% of it's,
So then the dad comes and picks Jackie up from jail, and he's like, I got a proposition for you now that I saved your life
Right.
from jail.
Right. Tit for tat.
Tit for tat.
Tit
and
for tit.
he like brings her to his house, and then he like slides over a gun with a silencer and is like, you know what to do.
Right.
Did she?
she did. She did the thing.
She did. She did the thing. Because next thing we know, Daisy.
Dead.
Bam!
By cheek.
Pew, pew.
Pew.
And then, I love that what happens later. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And then Daisy's with Kristen Stewart at the time.
God, poor Kristen Stewart. Lou's
And,
just like, what?
Yeah, just like,
What?
again?
So-
And then I'm fairly.
This happened again, and then she had to like roll her body up in a carpet.
Right.
Does she know not any other way to get rid of a body other than
Oh,
roll her up
snap.
in a
This is
carpet?
like a weird Paddington episode. You know how he gets into rambunctious things and stuff
that
starts to
little
break?
scamp.
And then it's like Kristen Stewart's like, you shot my neighbor.
God.
Oh, I'm so very sorry.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to
I have
see
an
if she had
emergency
marmalade.
marmalade sandwich for this.
Do you think that'll help? Starts packing it into the bullet wound. Oh, not our poor little boy. We're going to leave him out of it.
Put Paddington's music throughout this entire thing and it works.
It's horrible.
Because
like those,
she was homeless and so was he.
the one in the second movie with the band that follows him around. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying
yeah,
now?
yeah. I just...
I'm sorry, I haven't seen the second one either.
No,
You
this
know
is
what?
the
I'm
first one.
surprised that.
Band. You know how his band randomly shows up in places?
Yeah.
In the first one?
Yeah. Remember the jazz band?
Or they're like a.
Was there a jazz band?
Yeah, there was a
There's
jazz
a
band.
band that follows him around.
Wow.
It has
See
Kenny
how-
G.
Okay. I get it.
But I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie also almost killed Lou, right?
Right.
Like, she shot
Yeah.
again. She shot again, and
I thought she just pointed the gun.
no, I'm pretty sure
No,
you
she-
hear a click,
Ah.
and then
But she
Kristen
never
Stewart was like,
pulled the
"What?
trigger.
Like, what are you doing?"
But she never pulled the trigger.
I thought that she did, and then you hear a click because the gun was empty, and then she goes, "Oh shit!" and then she runs down the stairs because that's when Kristen Stewart was like, "What? Like, were you really just about to fucking shoot me?"
I don't know.
I
don't know.
swear.
I thought it was she just pointed it kind of violently and then freaked out.
Freaked out and then was like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Maybe.
She like yelled at that person on the street.
And-
did a murder! Don't tell anyone!
And by the way, this is all happening in daylight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
broad daylight. Broad daylight. Poor Lou, man.
I know. And then the FBI people come
It was kind of
And she's
weird.
got
with the body,
It was kind of
with
weird
the rug.
at the end of the whole film when they played Curb Your Enthusiasm's theme. So like the FBI are like, knock knock, are you hiding a dead body? And Chris Stewart's like, no, man.
and the cat's
Come
like,
on in.
Tastes
like-
like dead body.
I don't know. I would have been like, hold on, let me get my jacket. Let's go for a walk. I need to go somewhere.
so what we're hearing is Samantha has definitely planned a murder.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But yeah, somehow she gets away with it. Don't know how, but okay. Sure.
So then this is where the turning point what is, and then like,
Because I'm pretty sure she gets a phone call from Dad, right?
right. Or she calls dad or
Well,
something.
she also called. I mean, you guys talked about how she called him and said he was done, and then she called her
fam-
mom,
Yeah, her family.
her family, but
must have talked to
Oh,
her,
Jackie.
sounds like her sibling answered.
sibling.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the mother gets on the phone and is like, don't fucking call here again, you monster.
Right, which also kind of leads to the fact that maybe she did have those anger issues beforehand,
Yeah.
etc. Because why would her mom call her that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, why would any mother call
I mean,
her
I know
family?
she was adopted, but
Mhm.
that can't be the only reason.
Maybe she killed her mom.
That's her little nickname ever since she's been
Yeah.
adopted as Monster.
It was actually a sweet little thing. Don't call here again, monster. You little monster.
Wow, it's so dark.
Horrible. But then yeah, Kristen Stewart calls Dad, or I thought Dad called Kristen Stewart.
One or the other.
Yeah, someone calls someone, and Kristen Stewart's like, you know what? I'm gonna call your bluff, and I really will telling you to the FBI. Yeah. What'd she say? Yup.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Yup.
And then all of
Okay.
a sudden the cop that the dad is paying tries to offer.
Right.
Yeah.
What did he say? Did you really? Like, did he
You-
really pay you to come kill me?
You
Yeah,
rat.
You
Yeah,
rat.
rat.
She's like, eh.
And then she ends up killing him. There's
I
another
don't think
body
she killed him. I think she just knocked him out.
With a bullet.
with a bullet.
Did she shoot him?
Yeah,
I
she
thought
shot
she
him
just
one
like
time.
hit him with the
No,
gun.
that was
How did I miss
after.
that?
He's just sleeping.
Where was I? It could be a Daisy situation. You don't know.
Yeah. Oh, spoiler alert.
So then, again, in the middle of the day, she's dragging Daisy's body in the freaking rug.
Who's definitely dead.
Kirsten Stewart is very good at rug and bodies.
Kristen Stewart's good at a lot of things in this film. It looks like.
Yeah.
Well, so she pretty much had enough of her dad, especially after he sent the cop coming. So she grabs Daisy, and we're like, oh, she's gonna like drop her off at his doorstep or call the cops or something, and then be like, it was his fault.
No, she's gonna go and apparently try to kill him.
Right.
But then,
Which is
Can I notate really quick? If she already had a dead body in her apartment, why not just leave Daisy? She had the dead police officer in there. Why not just leave Daisy?
take one.
I mean, she should have took them both, or at least a police officer, because if Daisy's dead, okay, but if the police
But they'll
officer's
just-
dead, that's a lot more heat.
They'll just think he tripped and fell on his pistol,
On
and
his
then it
bullet?
disappeared.
Wild.
So yeah, that's it. Just there's a disconnect there,
Yeah,
and then
a little
so
weird.
she goes to her dad's place, but not before Jackie gets there to say, "I'm a good person. I did the thing," and then he hits her over the head to tie up the loose end because the whole point is that
Oh, that's right. Because then he lures Lou there.
yeah, because that's the whole thing. Oh, if you do something, he's like, "No, I'm gonna fix this. Let Daddy fix this." Blah blah blah. She'll be the fall person for everything. And then she's all like, "You better not hurt her." And then that's when she makes the threat. And then she goes over there to go kill him. And that's when things get big.
Right. With Tom Hanks.
Why am I in this movie?
My favorite part of that interaction though was when she goes to talk to Beth and she's like, where is she, etc. And Beth is like, I'm not fucking telling you. You killed my husband, my
that's
abusive
right, yeah.
husband. And she like grabs her by the face, and then once Beth tells her, she's like, okay, thanks, sis.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like, "You monster. I love you, sis."
You weren't supposed to kill him.
So they were both called
sorry.
monsters throughout this film. Maybe that's the
Maybe that's why
maybe that's the theme
they turned
here.
into monsters.
Lazy writing. Use more adjectives.
F. But yeah, she goes and finds Jackie tied up.
So she unties her, and at first I thought that like her dad was going to get her
Erotic
then,
thriller.
Yeah.
you know. But then she's like, "Here's my stuff. Take me to
You
the."
just got it.
I did. Did you see the recognition on my face?
Yeah, the dad shows up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Jackie gets sent packing and being like, "Hey, meet me at my truck or whatever. Whatever you do, listen to me." She doesn't listen.
What does she do? She goes full Hulk.
Right, like that's
Well, you got to describe everything
Right,
for this one.
right.
okay. So then Kristen Stewart's with her dad. Her dad's like, "Oh,
Her dad shot her.
we'll fucking
in the
kill
leg.
you know, da da da." And he has like the gun up to her head, and it's like all of a sudden you hear
You
the
hear
veins
muscles.
coming, and like her clothes are ripping off, and you're like, "What the fuck is
What the
going
shit?
on?" And then she just keeps growing,
Yeah.
and growing, and now
Until
she's
a
like
giant.
10 feet tall,
She comes over and Gulliver's travels him.
right? And
Picks
I was
him up.
like, "Hey, just tickle him," because then she holds him down, the dad.
So she becomes a giant woman. Has a giant bikini.
Yeah. Oh yeah, her little muscly
Yeah,
bikini.
like somehow it became a magical giant bikini.
Right.
And then dumps on the way up, and they all turn over and they're like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" Grabs him,
No
puts him down on the
questions.
ground. And Samantha's like, "New kink unlocked."
What? I just said tickle because that'd be funny.
Right. You gotta tell her to stop asking people that.
We're in the store buying cabbage.
But then happy ending. They drive off into the sunset
Oh, not before
with Daisy.
They run. They have
they're
their
running
little montage when they're both
in
giants.
the sky.
Yeah, with sparkly like bikinis
It was
or whatever.
Twilight 2.0.
But that's a theme throughout the whole thing because they show stars in the beginning
Right.
in the canyon, and then it goes into the van, which is also stars in space themed, and then it goes and it ends with the stars in them.
And then the FBI comes and arrests her dad.
Right. And then they get away
And then
with
you're
Daisy
like,
in the trunk.
and
who-
at first you're like, "Oh, this is the end of it. It's gonna be the end."
They're driving happily off into the sunset with the
No,
cat. Two
no.
lesbians and their cat.
And a dead body.
And a dead body.
They start their
Where-
garden.
Which at first you're like, why didn't they drop Daisy off somewhere? And poor Daisy, if they had, she may be alive.
Yeah, actually.
But no. Instead, Kristen Stewart notices that she's alive and finishes her off.
And starts
While
dragging-
Jackie is sleeping
Yeah.
in the truck.
She's
yeah.
like,
well, she opened her
"Nobody
eyes
will
a little
come
bit
in
at the end
between
there.
me and my
Show that
woman."
she kind of knew what was going on.
Well,
Yeah. So like, and then she drags her off in the desert to what music? Kind of like happy music,
Yeah.
like comedic. It ended up being like comedy
it
at
was
the end
pretty.
there.
It was very funny.
And
It was very
then
good.
the credits roll and the credits go filmed in New Mexico because that's
That's what we're all thinking.
Between Breaking Bad and dragging bodies into the desert, they're like, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Come for
I
the
just don't know if
canyons.
I wanna go
Leave
to
the
New
bodies.
Mexico. Yeah. So that is Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. What'd you guys give the screenplay?
I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 7.
I gave it an 8 as well. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a unique idea. Very fun. I thought there were some things that I was like,
There was like a plot holes.
yeah.
A couple.
There were a couple of things I was just questioning why,
Mm.
you know? But overall, very, very enjoyable film. Very good.
Direction.
Also an 8.
I gave it a 9.
Give it a 10.
Nice.
I liked how everything was directed, even though it was like a little weird, but
It was a little weird.
everybody fit really well to who they were.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked the subtle hints throughout of the canyon. Like it opens up with the canyon.
Right.
Yeah.
And-
in red.
Right. Right. And you're like, ooh, what is that? Vagina. I don't know.
I didn't think about that, but
Well,
Jagged rocks equal what?
now we know your kink.
Apparently it's splunking. Oh god.
Oh.
Anyhow.
Alright.
Acting?
Acting, I gave it an 8.
Oh.
I thought they did a really good job, but there was some things I just didn't. I don't know. Like
It's because they were lesbians, right?
no,
Typical.
there was more men in the film. Then no.
What'd you give it, Nick?
I gave it an 8 for the
Really?
acting. Everything was pretty good. There was a few things where I was like, but
Oh,
overall
man.
pretty good.
I give it a 10. I thought both lead females did such a great job. Like, again, the anxiety-inducing aspect of all of it was really good.
Yeah.
I liked the dad not necessarily being the stereotypical macho slut that we see running the stuff.
He's like on the cover.
He's on the cover of Macho Sluts. But yeah, no, I thought it was 10 out of 10. I thought
Explains the
really
hair
good.
extensions.
Daisy was the typical fucking rat.
So cinematography.
I gave it a 9. I thought they had some really fun, unique shots in there.
Yeah.
I gave it an 8.
Same 8.
Yeah.
Good. Some good creativity overall. Pretty samey, but
Right.
there's some good shots.
Yeah. Editing?
I gave it a 10
Give it-
because
yep.
it was very
Yes.
well evenly paced.
Yeah. Perfectly
Yeah, I
paced.
love that it didn't feel too long. It was perfect
Right.
from what I got to the end as far as timing and telling the story. I didn't feel it was too long at any point. I
Right.
didn't feel it was too short at any point. Perfect editing,
It
10
was
and
like
10.
yeah, definitely perfect timing for everything.
Right. Especially like the length of the shots and everything too. Like I'm going back to the scene where Lou finds JJ's body and it's just like boom his face and then boom her reaction and it was like oh
Yeah, yeah. It was just really, really good. Like, if I want to get an editor, I'm going to be strongly considering this person.
yeah, it was good. Music?
I gave it a 9.
Nice.
Only because like I realized with myself at least if the music seems seamlessly or if I don't realize that there's a lot of music in there, that means it was just so seamless. And I really didn't notice a lot of the music other than like maybe the one song or the one melody when she's taking the body out of
Oh. I think I gave it an 8 for similar reasons. Like it was very whatever. I thought the beginning song really did remind me of Game Night. It's not a negative thing. I don't really know what that is. I was just like, oh, that's the vibe we're going with. And then it wasn't. So
I love the music, but I wanted more of it.
yeah. There
So I
wasn't a
gave it
lot
an
of
8 out of
music.
10
Yeah.
because it was really good when it was on. And then when it was gone, I was like, we need some. Come on. Put something in there.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Put a little chicken music in there.
chicken music.
Honestly,
And she's like getting in the van. Hey, I need a ride.
that would have fit. That's where that music would have fit.
Just
Right.
comedic relief all of a sudden. Like,
Right.
all right, we got a breather.
Would you give special effects?
I originally gave it an 8, but thinking about it now, I changed my mind and it's a 10.
Yeah.
Because just the time, just like everything.
God, 10 out of 10 for me. Like,
Mm.
the face was horrifying. Even though I thought the giant thing at the end was weird, it was still well done.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything
It
was
wasn't
well
cheesy.
done.
It wasn't like
The muscles and the whatever, I hated it, but it was great.
yeah, like even when she was like sitting gripping the chair. It
Oh
was like,
yeah, with the sound effects in this was so good.
I gave it a 10 out of 10, but there is a noticeable mistake when he rolls over in the jaw kind of, or they roll over him and JJ's jaw. You can see that there's weird stutters in the CG of his jaw. So I still gave it a perfect 10 out of 10, but it's not. And there's some parts where it's like, oh, ooh, we forgot to fill that in, but that's all right. It's overall really, really, really good, especially with the budget.
Yeah, only being the 2.5 million.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's with 10 million, like the fact that I'm sorry, not 10 million, with 2 million, and you're able to accomplish all this.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah, that's crazy. So overall,
So overall, I give it an 8 out of 10, and I would stream it.
nice. I give it a 9, and I would also stream it.
I gave it an 8 out of 10 and stream.
All
Ding, ding,
right.
ding.
Wow. I think that's the first time we agreed on like whether to keep or stream.
Keep or stream it. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
At least this season so far.
We could give it a standing ovation like the Sundance Film Festival did.
Yeah, standing
Yeah.
ovation.
We love it.
I don't know if it. I don't think it's a standing ovation. I think it's a good flick, and it should be seen at least once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was very good.
I was close to saying keeping it because I love Ed Harris's character.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I loved the two main characters. I thought they did really good. Did you know
Yeah.
Katie O'Brien actually used to be a competitive bodybuilder?
Oh.
I did because I read the trivia.
Stop
but-
reading other people's trivia.
I did not know that. So.
Thank you. Isn't it cool?
No,
That's
it's
kind of
yeah.
a fun fact.
I was gonna say her too did a great job.
Yeah.
O'Brien, just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really felt for her. I felt really bad, but also like just
Like under the circumstances and like had Kristen Stewart, had Lou known that like she had anger issues, would she have still given her the rights?
Probably not. I don't think
I
she
don't know.
would.
Maybe she would have because I feel like Kristen Stewart was using them as well, right? But didn't
Yeah.
get that same reaction. I feel like it's sometimes you think, oh, they're gonna have the same exact vibe that I do on set, whatever, and then when things go south. I mean, I feel like that's how a lot of people get other people into precarious situations with drugs. Is they're like, oh, well, I do this and it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I do a little coke every
Yeah.
now and then and it's fine. So you do some and then they get addicted and their life falls apart and it's
Right.
like, oh,
Right. Yeah.
oh no.
True.
Like dating bodybuilding women.
No.
I'm addicted.
All right. When we come back, we will be doing Nick's choice.
Basic Instinct.
Bum, bum, da, da.
Arguably the best erotic thriller ever.
Well,
So
we'll see about that.
Is that a fact or opinion?
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks would be like at least their top 3.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would be able to stand on that hill.
It's going up against this though, and this had some very interesting feet scenes.
On that note, we'll be right back.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're back with Basic Instinct and initial thoughts before we start running it down.
Do not stick your dick in crazy.
Those are words to live by.
Yes.
It's crazy good.
Typical man.
Yeah.
All right, so
That's why the saying is don't stick your dick in crazy and don't, instead of, I don't know, what would the female version of that be?
Don't stick your tongue in crazy.
Oh, that's a good one. There you go.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got nothing.
Don't mush your muffin with crazy.
There you go.
Anywho. There's a lot of muffin munching in this.
Don't pocket the wrong rocket.
Love that one. I'll pocket that one for later.
So this film was made in 1992. It's rated R. It's
For obvious
a
reasons.
mystery erotic thriller mainly. The writer was Joe Ezerson?
Oh geez, Joe Regerson?
Esterhan?
Esterhan.
Sorry, I
S.
kind of scribbled a little fast.
I think it's Esther Has.
Sorry.
Oh, Esther has. Okay.
Esther Has.
So, fun little fact here is that for a while, people don't know what they purchased the script for, and they ended up purchasing it for an unheard of $3 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, this was directed by Paul Verhoeven, who did RoboCop, Total Recall, and Starship Troopers, and also did, the one that we always make, well, not always make fun of, but the pool scene and all that stuff.
Oh, Showgirls?
Showgirls, who was featured one of the Saved by the Bell actresses. But it features the actors Michael Douglas, who's been in a lot of them, like Fatal Attraction and Full Disclosure, and Sharon Stone, who at the time was more of a television actress, even though she had some credits to her name. And there was a lot of contract negotiations about the scenes. A lot.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. And did this kind of like set her career on the fast track?
It did, and to the point where some people were like, "Oh, you just have a career now because you showed yourself off." You know, that one scene with the crossed legs. But Jennifer Tilly came to her defense, even though she wasn't in the film. She's like, "No, she really did well. She acted the hell out of that role.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with crossing her legs."
Right, not everybody can fake an orgasm.
So, and because
Not well, at least.
well, like Jennifer Tilly was
She
in
would know.
Bound, so that was another erotic thriller. That was kind of more like our previous film, Lies and
Oh, okay.
Love, Lies,
Love,
Bleeding.
Lives and Bleeding. Yeah, so you can find it on Pluto, nowhere else right now. And I forgot to write down the budget and gross. Did you guys catch that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Who would like to tell
So
me?
the budget was $49 million.
Yep.
And it grossed $352.9 million.
I'd call that a success. So much so that Steven Spielberg saw the film and hired, I want to say David Knight, but Knight. I know his last name is Knight. Newman from Seinfeld. He saw him. He's like, he has to be Dennis Nedry. He was the first cast,
Needy.
the first casted actor for Jurassic Park
Wow.
because of that film.
That's kind of cool.
So-
He wasn't really in it that much, too, so that's kind of crazy.
Oh, he
Yeah.
just loved him. He's like, I need you for this role.
That's awesome.
And then boom.
Way
So
to go, dude.
here goes the plot. The plot goes like this. We have
Here goes the plot. The
plot
plot
goes
goes
like
like this.
it's like a launch coaster. It's like, it's at first I was like, how am I going to present this? Because right away it's
Here
you're in a
goes the
sex
plot.
scene.
Plot goes like this.
Yeah.
There were titties.
You're presented to like these people having very hot sex, and then she's tying up the guy, and then
And she's doing that thing with her hair so you can't see her face.
right,
She's like,
right.
Not me. Don't look at
Which
me.
here's the thing. There's a couple of things about the sex scenes. One, she had to wear like this pad because of the AIDS scare that was going on. The crisis that they were all so afraid of anything and anybody catching anything because nobody was sure about what.
Right.
So there's a bunch of protection that was done, and then what was this? I forget who mentioned the coordinators.
Yeah.
If there's
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
Coordinator.
So no, but they didn't really have them back then. But what Paul Verhoeven did was like make sure it was choreographed. Everything was very choreographed to the point where Sharon Stone's like, yeah, me and Michael Douglas were kind of like figure skaters where we were doing this because they were trying to make sure everybody was just right for every single thing. And so everything, even the some of the sex scenes were storyboarded by Paul Verhoeven because he didn't want the executives to just sit there and be like, no, we're not doing this. This is too much. This is a porno now.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So they wanted to he wanted to be like, no, this is what's going to happen step by step. And it's not a porno.
Yeah.
It's not a porno.
It's an erotic thriller.
Yes. Which I guess is a step down from a porno.
Step down.
Well, because you got like a
What's your rank?
porno, and then you got erotic thriller. Then you got, I don't know.
Wait, porno is above erotic thriller
Yeah, like I mean,
as far as the writing?
as far as like the sex, I guess. I don't know. I just made this up right now. Okay.
I thought you were gonna be like porno, erotic thriller, home improvement.
No, there's that in between.
There's an in between.
You know, you gotta put baby cat somewhere in there.
Mm.
Poking.
Wow.
So yeah. So you're introduced to this murder that happens with the ice pick, and one of the coolest scenes is when they stab through the guy's nose real quick. That quick flash where you see it didn't quite go into his head; it went through.
Through his nose, yeah.
That was kind of cool.
It was trip.
That was weird.
So I just remember the first time I saw it, I was like, "Whoa! Oh! Like, what is going on?"
It really goes from a ooh to an ooh moment.
Yeah.
Again.
Right.
And a lot of female dominance throughout this entire film,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, "No, I'm always on top. I'm the one." It's
With
puts
her.
yeah.
Yeah, because with Beth, you see Michael Douglas kind of get.
Right, he's the dominant one. So it's like this tug of war between these two,
Did not think about
where
that.
it's like, oh no, you need to figure out what it's like to be more of the submissive and da da da.
Right.
So there's a lot of layers kind of built into this thing that it looks simplistic, like a noir old school detective story where you have Michael Douglas investigating the murder, which happens obviously right after, and they've cracked jokes about the guy, and you know, that's the other thing too. Full frontal dead body pan, very slow, where you just see the guy's everything. And Michael Douglas is like, no, we're not doing that with me. We're not doing full frontal with me.
Something for everybody.
Yeah, like we're not doing dead rock star. Thumbs up, I guess. So he
That really gets you going, huh?
yeah, like strange.
Ooh.
So they're cracking jokes and everything else, but like Michael Douglas about these full frontal scenes, he's like, no, I'm not going to do anything bisexual or any of that stuff. So you could kind of
He's
tell
missing out.
in the contract that he was. Oh, and he also didn't want Sharon Stone originally. He wanted somebody else to star in there, like Demi Moore, because he was like, well, if this ends up bombing, at least I can share it with another star. While as if he didn't see anybody else really of high note on there, so he's like, oh wait, if this bombs, it's all on me. So
So was
Right.
this after Disclosure then?
this was before.
Okay.
Yeah, Full Disclosure was after. I think Fatal Attraction even was after. So I think this was like the big kickoff. I know there's some stuff in the 80s, but this seemed to be the
Right.
big kickoff of the erotic thrillers, or at least the peak.
Okay.
So we go on from the detective work, and they start trying to figure out who it is, and they're like, yeah, well, you know, he was dating Catherine Trammell, played by Sharon Stone. So they go ahead and interview her, and she's acting nothing like a girlfriend who just learned that her boyfriend got horribly murdered. And so they're, of course, like, oh, okay, well, obviously you may have done it. And then she keeps on throwing all these different things at him that are just completely opposite of defending herself.
Oh,
Right.
in the police interrogation room.
Well, that's not there yet. This was on the dock, like her porch.
Oh, okay.
When
Right
Gus
after
and him had just gone up and
Yeah.
Okay.
talked to her, and
'cause-
she was
After
being all
meeting
freaking
Roxy, which
suspicious.
Roxy is the lesbian friend of hers
So-
that she's also dating.
So what I thought was interesting was Roxy, when they first initially met Roxy, they questioned her about the rock star, and she's like, oh, he's dead. And then they were like, how do you know he's dead? But then like when Catherine said, oh, he's dead, they didn't like blink twice about it.
Yeah, well, like, it's the weirdest thing because they introduce themselves, yes, we're from Homicide. And they're like, she's like, so he's dead. How'd you know? Because you're
Because
here.
you're from Homicide. I thought the same thing. I was like, all right.
Well, it kind of gives us shine of the cops being,
Stupid?
yeah, a little like,
a little bit stupid.
oh, yeah. Yeah, we did say that, didn't we?
Oh,
Well,
bitch.
maybe we
That's right.
shouldn't do that. We should just say we're from San
Right.
Francisco Police Department.
In their heads, they were
Then-
like, we got her. And she's like,
yeah.
fucking idiot.
Again, some of that
they
female
got
dominance.
me.
They got
I was like,
me.
they got me because I didn't hear that they were from Homicide.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so you kind of get a hint of more of that female dominance where she's throwing it back at him, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and that comes up again where he does a kind of a prod. What is it he says in the bathroom when she walks in after Catherine Trammell and his character Nick have sex?
Oh,
Is
when he's talking to Roxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says something to
she's
her
a
like,
good fuck.
no. Like he makes fun of her in kind of a homophobic way.
What he calls her like a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man to man, that's what he says.
Man to
Man to
man.
man, what do you
Okay.
think about her? And you know,
then
The
he's
fuck
like
of the century, right?
the
Yeah.
fuck of a century.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah.
yeah. So you could tell like he's trying to assert his dominance again, even though she's being dominant.
Right.
Catherine Trammell's being
Right.
dominant. So it's this weird, like push and pull.
Well, and he never really listened to Catherine because she kept on, I don't know if she said it multiple times, but I remember her saying it one time, I'm a writer. I use people.
Yeah.
When I'm
Right.
done with them, I'm done.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like she's very flippant. And then eventually they take her downtown because she's like, well, you're going to have to take me downtown. And, then I'll talk. So they go downtown for the famous interview where she is very like sultry, seductive, playful, messing with the cops big time.
Right.
Because
And
they're
then-
all men in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the whole like leg crossing where she's not wearing underwear, which to this day, there's an kind of an argument between Paul Verhoeven and her, where Sharon Stone's like, I didn't know that was gonna be in the scene. You didn't tell me it was gonna be seen. And Paul Verhoeven's like, we had dinner over it. We agreed. We said the terms. And he's like, I think what happened is her publicist or whoever were like, hey, this is gonna make you look bad. Don't do it. And so she tried to pull out of it, saying she didn't know, and because it was already filmed and shot, and
But
it was going
then
to be done.
isn't this like one of her famous scenes that she's known for?
It is. But
And
they
it's
were afraid that
not
it would
in a
tank her
bad way.
career.
Oh, okay.
Because
Well,
when she was
yeah.
younger, she was doing things like Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, very, very much different stuff. But, different. I don't know who's true, what's not. It's just that's the big back and forth between
Okay.
the two.
Interesting.
But yeah, so eventually they go to the interview room to who's going to drop her off, and then Michael Douglas is like, oh, I'll do it, and of course the other cops are like, really? And this is after during the interview in the police department, which is a very fancy interview room
I
apparently.
was gonna say it looked weird. It looked alien almost.
Yeah.
Like
They had like the
Why?
one.
like a casting couch.
They had like
Yeah.
the one chair like on the other side of the room, and then like 5 or 6 people like on this side.
Tables
like
and
have
all.
you seen
Right.
the Loki TV show?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Okay. Well, if you've seen like the first season, the first couple episodes where they have Loki and like interrogation, it's like that wide open chamber with the weird lights. It kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
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 Just with like
Just
blue
bluer.
lights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I was like,
Maybe it is
This
the
is
same
weird.
one. I don't know.
So
If
like,
you actually squint, you can see Loki in the background.
just
that
that weird-
trickster.
that weird like smile.
He's Minxie.
It's a whole new spin on things. So,
This movie took a turn for the worst.
For the worse. Listen.
oh no! Oh
Tom Hiddleston-
no!
Loki is our bi king.
You're giving too many nerds out there /fiction ideas.
I don't know what that face was. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no! I'm giving this nerd a /fiction idea. This
Ooh. Catch me on Wattpad.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, so while the interview was going on, she kept on like naming Nick the entire time, Michael Douglas's
Right.
character,
Mm-hmm.
and talking about his past.
She's really getting him in trouble.
Yeah, because she shouldn't know about some certain things, but yet she knows. So they're like, at one point, do you know her?
Right.
Like right in the middle of the interview.
He's
So
like,
this is
"What the
all being
hell?
recorded,
No."
so it makes him look bad, and he's trying to
Right.
kind of verbal fencing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's
tit
throwing
for
some
tat.
stuff at her, trying to trip her up, and she throws stuff at him.
Battle
back
of the
at him.
wits.
Yeah, which is I found really like fun, a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I loved it. And then eventually they go, which actually, before I go on, Sharon Stone has remarked like fondly about
Michael
their
Douglas.
back and forth, and she was like, "Yeah, on set we were really kind of tense because we didn't really hang out with each other, and then all of a sudden these strangers were doing these sex scenes, so it was kind of weird." But she still like holds the whole thing in high regard because they felt like she had great chemistry. But she ended up doing a second one because she was contractually bound to
Obligated to it.
Yeah. And so they're like, Michael Douglas, we want you to reprise your role. And he's like, I'm too old for this. They never got him a contract on it. It was just for that one. So you end up having Morrissey. I kid you not. Morrissey as the opposite to it. And it bombed. It just bombed. He's an 80s singer in the band Morrissey. Remember the theme from Charmed?
Yeah.
He did that.
Oh, I love that theme from Charmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was him.
But yeah, it bombed. It didn't do too well. And even Sharon Stone tried to get out of it because she saw this was not going to work out if Michael Douglas wasn't attached. So
he looks like a lot of people.
He looks like a lot of people.
Yeah.
You look like a lot of people, sir.
Like,
Is
quite
that
a few people.
a compliment? Question mark?
Yeah.
So he takes her
Nice.
home after the guys are like, huh. And then how would you describe, like, when they get back, how that goes?
Well, first of all, if he's just so dumb. Because, again, she's, like, flirting with him. She knows all this intimate stuff. And he's like, oh, I'll take her home without anybody else going with him.
Right.
It's early 90s.
So it was, like, kind of like he was asking for it. No.
Oh, boy.
Listen.
Well, it was a good run.
Listen. If he didn't want to
Season
get
2,
picked.
Episode 3, technically Episode 2, Part 2. And we're crashed and burned.
You know what?
We're going to get so many comments.
Let him come in. He didn't want to get picked. Ice picked. He shouldn't have been driving people home alone in his car.
But that's where he sees Roxy again. And then she kind of goes, oh, I'm with her, though. Da-da-da-da. He's like, well, how'd you feel? Well, eventually somewhere there's a question like, how did you feel when he died? I felt nothing. It was just, we just fucked or whatever.
Right.
Right. She just kept on saying that over and over again about the musician.
Right.
You know,
But the
and
boxer's sad.
right.
Yeah. Because she loved the boxer.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they were talking about how, like, she wrote the book. It was just like in the book. So the book's her alibi. And of course, if you question her, she's just going to say, well, I wrote about it. So why would I do that to myself? I would just admit it.
Because she's got a major in not just literacy, but in psychology.
She
But
got
then
her
if you-
reading endorsement.
But then if you think about it, wouldn't that be the perfect alibi?
It would.
Yeah.
It would.
Isn't that how OJ got away with it?
No.
No, he wrote the book afterwards, right?
Yeah, he got away with it from like bad police
Yeah, I
work
know.
and a racist guy that was there named Mark Furman.
glove doesn't fit.
Oh man.
We're really skating the line today. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, jeez.
Okay, so
That was also the early 90s. It was a hell of a time.
The 90s were a time, apparently.
Erotic
This was
thrillers and O.J. Simpson.
not together.
Not together.
It could have worked.
I just thought
Wasn't
of
his
Nick.
trial televised?
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
it was.
So, you know.
So Roxy and Sharon Stone with Catherine Trammell.
Mhm.
So they're in there and they basically make out right in front of him, basically to say, hey, no, you're barking up the wrong tree. He leaves and then ends up trying to figure out what to do next because he's like, wait a minute, how'd she know this? How'd she know that?
Right.
Right.
Because he knew, or she knew, that he had shot those tourists, which he has a god dang anger problem, this one.
Right.
Like, his
Or-
temper is ridiculous.
He does not. No,
or like even so, like he's so impulsive, I guess too. Because,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, what I
Very
mean?
important.
Very
Yeah.
impulsive, super bad temper. He's like a big baby, for real.
Wow, you're really just.
He's a big red flag in this film.
Well, yeah, but I never viewed him as a big baby. It's just,
He is a big baby. Anytime somebody's like, "Ooh,
baby, you want your
wife's
Jack
dead."
Daniels? Clink, clink, clink. Yes,
He's like,
baby, want the
"Fuck
bottle?
you." Oh my god, like he just flies off the handle and then he's like,
He does.
"Ugh, I need to have sex."
Erotic thriller. First it was testosterone, now it's just a detective who wants to kill himself, pretty much.
Pretty much.
So he runs back, and I forgot he had the appointment with the doctor. That's why he had to run out of there. And he was running late, and he was already screwing around with the doctor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
So he basically is like, hey, you're going to tell him I'm good to go, right? And she's like, yeah. And he leaves, and she's like, but I miss you. And he just keeps on going.
Hot fucking dick.
So you see that it's kind of one-sided.
That was the early 90s version of Ghosted.
Well, because then
Just walking away.
Just walking away, being like, oh, maybe he didn't hear me.
I
fucking
still
heard
miss
you. I heard.
Slam.
Bye.
It's like Harrison
Wait.
Ford when it's like, I know.
Yeah, what was the thing in the back then with all the fucking assholes?
That's when their men were men, and they just said, I know. They drove cars that can kill you, and they said, I know to everything.
I know.
Just ruffle the paper. I know.
And then we wonder what's wrong with America's society.
I know.
They got,
No wonder
See, you
men
just
are
said
the
I
way that
know.
they are. I'm a man.
they got
Man to man.
They got Michael Douglas to
Sharon
look
Stone,
up
am I
to
right?
for relationship advice.
Dear Abby, I'm dating what I think might be a killer. I don't know. She's really good with
So
it.
I married an axe murderer.
Okay,
Followed by Basic Instinct. It's the same movie.
Oh my god.
It's the same movie.
it's the same movie.
We have a piper down. That's what happens when the cowboy
Piper
gets
down.
it in the elevator. We have a piper down. A piper is down.
Head.
Oh yeah, when the guy gets shot in the head, he's like, "Head, move, no, bang."
No.
Oh my god, it's the same
Oh,
movie.
just replace Michael Douglas with Mike Myers.
Trying
You'd
to
have
do
a
those
whole
sexy-
Oh my
better
gosh. Okay, so
Running at
the
Sharon
movie-
Stone with
She's
his
like-
pants down.
When she's like seducing him, he's like, "Okay, you want me to stay?"
I have no problem with
He's
that.
just like running over to her with his pants down.
Roxy is the one that grabs his butt.
Yes. You were saying Roxy in your sleep?
Hmm.
Oh
All
my
right, back
God.
to the real
We should make it.
movie.
We should make
So I
it.
married an ice picker.
So I married an ice pick murderer.
All right, so he goes to Beth. And he's like, "How does she know all these intimate details that I only told
Oh.
you?"
They have that one sex scene though. Before that happens, I forgot. There's a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
stuff in
'cause
between.
she comes in and she goes sees him at,
With Beth?
yeah.
Yeah, because she goes
Yeah.
to see him like, oh, bring back his keys.
And then
or
he's
something.
like incredibly aggressive and fairly certain she said no.
she
multiple
did.
times.
So there's this is another part of the trivia facts of this thing. So people debate whether or not this is considered a rape or not. And yeah, she does say no, but then is kind of like not. I guess the debate is it's like she's not pushing away from him, and she starts like gnawing on
Right.
like, ooh,
Right. Like she
which
gets
makes it
into
this
again.
really weird,
But
So maybe that they
uncomfortable moment.
maybe they had a safe word and that wasn't it.
yeah, I don't know. It
I mean, if
felt
they
kind of
established it,
rapey.
I'd feel a lot better.
Like at that point, as a female in a position, if I were in a position like that and I said no and they obviously were not gonna stop, I'd be like, okay, two routes here. We either pretend and go with it, 'cause obviously afterwards she was not happy still, or we risk being murdered.
Risk being murdered.
Like, he flies off the handle.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
can
yeah.
be a very
Yeah,
angry
yeah.
person. If I continuously push at him and say no, what will he do?
For some reason, I thought it was him risking being murdered.
Because
Because like that's why I
He
kind of chuckled.
might
I was like,
get ice picked.
just wham right behind her.
But
Just
that's
done.
at the time that he didn't even know that like they knew each other.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like she just had to, as a female, I feel like she just put herself in survival mode and just kind of had to go with it because she didn't know what he would do if she kept saying no.
Yeah.
That was my take on it. It was very rapey.
That
I don't like it.
I agree, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. If there's establishing that was their thing, because he was just
Right.
like, "What's the big deal?"
Right.
So,
I felt like it, at first I was like, is this like a consensual non-consent
yeah,
Right.
moment? Like that's their thing because seems like it would be that kind of movie. But then after the fact, she was mad. She was like, "You've never done that before."
Yeah, because 80% of it
So-
she was
Right.
clearly for.
Right.
It's
right.
just that 20% where it's like,
where he was getting like
"Ugh."
real rough. That she was like, "No."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
if she would have said, no, those are La Perla, I'd be like, oh, she's talking about the underwear. It's not the rest of it. That's very expensive panties. Don't rip those.
That's a nice shirt, you asshole.
Yeah,
you
like,
know,
that's
kinda
not J.C.
thing.
Penney.
Then I would have been fine. But she just kind of was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, all right, back off. Back off.
No,
man.
Ant-Man, no.
No, man. No. Anywho. So, yeah. There was that.
What was after?
Again, he's a red flag.
Yeah. Well, it could be the drinking, the smoking, the accidentally shooting tourists.
Tourists. And then
But I can fix them.
he freaking shot Beth at the end with no freaking. He was like, bye, bam.
Well,
Yeah.
Pistol shot.
But like he was our.
He was freaked out, and he did.
Yeah.
That was justified.
Yeah, because
She killed his partner.
I don't think she.
They found out she actually did 100%.
She did kill him.
Yeah.
But why? Hold on. I'm confused, man. All right. We can continue. I'm just over here lost on the plot.
So eventually, he is he ends up being pulled from the case because it can't be a detective story without being pulled from your case.
Right.
He
Right. Being too passionate.
yeah, because basically that's when he finds out somehow by interviewing her again that she knows way more than she should. That ticks him off. He blames IA. He blames the psychiatrist. He punches the IA guy.
Says, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. And then
And
ends
then
up,
the-
the IA guy ends up getting
Dead.
killed.
Ends up dying.
Yeah. That's what pulls him off the case. And then before
No, he was
that,
pulled
before
off
that, he was
before.
supposed to tail her. And that's when
Right.
all that crazy driving was happening, which he did all that driving. Michael Douglas did all the driving.
No, for real?
He wanted to be a race car driver before being an actor. He loves
Really?
Formula One.
That's
Ooh.
terrifying. So, like, oh my God, that's crazy. Good for him, but holy
Yeah.
crap.
So he actually ran off that car off the road. He's just like, hey, get out of my way.
Wow. Yeah. Beep, beep.
It was
I
in
thought
the
I was about
script.
to watch the beginning of Doctor Strange, you know, where he's like, oh, my hands.
Well,
Okay,
that's right,
so
yeah.
when he, so then
Ouch.
he meets him. She goes to somebody's house, and he does a federal offense. Then
he takes her mail. Son of a
Yeah.
bitch. That was
Did
the
he
red
take
flag.
it or did he just look at it?
He took it.
I
Took
thought
an
he just
envelope.
looked at it. God, what am I watching?
They didn't have phones.
I swear I was paying attention.
because he took it so then he could research her name afterwards.
I thought he like looked at it and then he like put it back in and closed it, and then you were like,
He
"That's
put
a
in his-
federal offense," and I was like, "I didn't know that."
He took his. Well, you're not supposed to be. But
Yeah.
it was-
Not that I go around snooping at people's mail.
that part is a federal offense. Man, I gotta change my life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh my god.
so
what have I
Allegedly.
done?
just gotta
Allegedly, what have I done?
put. Allegedly, what have I done? You'll get away with any murder if you just scream allegedly. And what have I
Allegedly,
done?
What have I done?
If I had done it,
If I had done it allegedly, no.
what lawyer could I have called to rectify the situation? Paul Benz. Paul what? Benz?
Ben's?
Number?
Allegedly.
So he yeah, lots of
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah, he's chasing, and then
Then you have the scene where that scene came in after he went to the club, and that's when they had all the
the V-neck.
hot erotic V-neck sweater sex on the dance floor.
It's on the dance floor.
And this is where Roxy sees him again.
Yeah, and Roxy's pissed the whole time. She's like,
But still dancing. But pissed, but still dancing.
Yeah. Well,
How can he do that?
yeah. I'm telling you, what's with the fist movements? Because it felt like that spin class I had to take where it was like cycling, but you're like, wah,
Cocaine was involved.
wah.
Like he remember
I
he comes
wish
into
cocaine
he
were
went into the
involved.
bathroom and he sees them both doing cocaine, except it was like the sexiest cocaine
Yeah.
use I've ever seen. I'm like,
I thought she was gonna like snort it off of Sharon's titties, you know?
yeah. I was like, all right, I
She's
might.
like closing the door with her heel.
Yeah. I'm like, I actually might try a line. I don't want to try a line. I might die, but it's worth it. Right, that's worth it right
That's
there.
worth it. I understand why they do it now.
I'll just like, instead of inhaling it, I'll just blow it out like, oh, she's like, oh God, what are you doing? I'm like, cocaine. What are you doing?
That's how you do it, right?
It's like, sounds like an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It was like Charlie Day.
What?
What? Isn't that how you're supposed to do it?
Oh.
So they do all that. That's where that line comes in, man to man. What do you think? And that pisses off Roxy, which leads to the chase. And then,
Oh yeah, where she chases him with the car,
yeah,
tries to hit him, does hit him, then tries to hit him again.
And then
pisses
she
off
dies.
all his detective friends.
Right, because he's lying.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a red
I'm just trying to get close. Well, the funny thing is they allude to the fact that he always gets too close in his investigations. That's why he has a cocaine habit, and that he's trying to fight away. Like, we don't see him do it.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, of all the things he quit that.
Also, we breezed over Gus drunk driving.
Yeah.
Straight up plastered.
That chili's
And-
really good. It just took it away.
Michael Douglas just like, Pat, you get your booty in that car. You
Here, let me
drive home
drive.
safe
Ah!
now. You see him like hit 5 pedestrians on the way out.
One child
You're
flies up.
fine.
That's why he had to. That's why he had to die. You know.
And that's when
Okay,
Michael
and
Douglas.
Juliana
Oh, yeah.
gets into this movie.
That's when he Michael Douglas is actually does the whole like car. Roxy goes after him in Catherine's car. But funny enough, I can't say Nick because it's my name, so I just say Michael Douglas's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
So Nick gets hit by a car.
Yeah,
Beep, beep.
that's the thing. That's what I bring up. Like, it's ass over tin cups, breaks the freaking headlamp, and I'm like, I don't think that was effects.
No.
I think that was a dude getting hit by
That
a car.
looked like game night
breaking
getting
a
hit by a
freaking-
car.
Yeah, like either they did some great pull effects because I mean, again, Paul Verhoeven did RoboCop and Total Recall and all those, and those are like superb action films. It's funny you mentioned the testosterone things, and I was like, yeah, he likes making his films extremely punchy.
Man.
Oh yeah, Paul Verhoeven's your guy all the way. Starship Troopers, he did
Where are
that
the
too.
roids?
Where's the roids? I like your comment with the. We saw 2 masculine films
We
tonight.
saw lots of testosterone.
Yeah,
Lots
that's
of,
it.
Lots of testosterone in the movies tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you ain't lying. You had a
Roids.
giant roided out woman just, yeah, I'm going to pick you up, put you on the ground.
Boop.
Got your Coors Light right here.
Because you're men.
So, good film, though.
Good film.
The whole Roxy thing comes to a head. The guys are ticked. He goes back to Catherine, and she's all crying her eyes out. And she's like, make love to me. And he's like, yes.
Okay.
Yes, will. And does. So they're
Again.
laying by the fire because it's an
Why not?
erotic thriller.
Why not?
And
Why not?
and she starts talking about her college years and how she had a stalker when she slept with this one girl who happened to be
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
the psychologist
Beth.
who was actually named Hoberman, not Oberman.
Wasn't it Lisa?
Lisa Hoberman.
Lisa Hoberman.
Lisa.
Here's the thing about that. Oh my God, it's Lisa
It's
again.
Lisa. She was
Its name
blonde.
is following
in
us.
college, and she was following you around.
The chicken hat was too
And
much.
she just thought the lesbian was too much for her.
Watch the
It was over the
smokers.
line. Watch the smokers.
Yeah, and we're listening to the episode. So, yeah. So he starts researching that, and now he's starting to think,
Now he's
maybe
like,
she's not
"Beth?"
the one. Maybe she's not the killer.
Maybe she's innocent.
Maybe it's the stalker.
The stalker.
Meanwhile, his partner's like, what are you talking about, Haas? What are you talking about? You're crazy. You're crazy. But then he's like, hold on. I think I found something. This is cutting through a bunch of stuff. But eventually
It's fine.
he talks to him and says, I got this great thing. And he's just all to himself because he's like, oh no, because Catherine has said, book's done. You're done. We're done. And he's like, well done.
What?
So
Why? But he did read the ending of her book, which they tell us what's going to happen.
Right.
And he should have known that Catherine was a real killer, because how would Beth have gotten... But how did Beth know? How did Beth know how to kill Gus like that?
Well, that's the thing that's kind of weird, because she's such a manipulator. We don't know how much Catherine gave to her.
Right.
I swear they're like either in cahoots.
I was thinking they were more in cahoots than they actually let on.
She's a huge manipulator.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's a red flag.
Well,
Everyone.
because
Except for
prior to
Catherine.
that,
no.
prior to that, we find out that Beth most likely killed her husband with a gun that killed
The
that
same
detective.
gun that killed the detective.
That's why Catherine is the green flag.
No, because what was
Bad.
by her bedside at the very end.
I'll explain in a moment why she is actually a green flag.
Bad.
A manipulator is a
No.
green flag, right?
So,
she's a murderer.
She's manipulating everybody but him, if you think about it.
Still
So,
bad.
She likes the verbal jousting.
She's definitely
She
manipulating
also likes
him.
the tongue lashing. So now we have a
doesn't?
dead Roxy. And eventually he goes into the car. Well, not only that, dead rock star. He goes with his partner because he's like, hey, got this great thing. I just got to meet up over at the building. Goes to the building. Goes inside the building. Hey, Haas, you stay here.
Oh, no. What happened was that they were looking into Beth still.
Right.
And the detective, his friend or whatever,
Gus.
got a tip from somebody that they used to go to college with, supposedly, that they wanted. So he's like, oh, I'm going to go interview that person.
Right.
To see who actually is the crazy one. And
Right.
then it turns out, well, that didn't work out too well.
He was getting too close. Anybody who got too close died from Beth.
But that death was written exactly like that in the book.
Right. Because there's a little bit of weirdness there
Right.
between Beth and
I know.
Catherine.
How did she know?
Unless she was still stalking, which is what was being given. She saw the ending and then used it later.
It was being printed, though, as he was reading
But
it.
she could have also seen it on the computer.
Remember the second theory. A stalker who's so obsessed that they're still stalking and they're getting all sorts of information that they don't know about,
I don't buy it.
which is what you're supposed to buy.
Well, and also, I mean, just because it's being printed doesn't mean that it wasn't on the computer.
That and the fact that she could have been breaking into her house. I mean, she was going back and forth and in and out. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on there. But she was known to be a stalker. She's known to kill. Catherine's been known to be around killers. And she was able to
Because-
find all this stuff out. So,
Like-minded individuals.
and
are your
anybody
friends.
who got close to catching Catherine got killed by Beth because she was obsessed and loved her.
But she loved Michael Douglas.
Do we know that?
Those were her dying words.
Do we know that? Yeah, she probably
But
lost.
Catherine was a manipulator, so she could have been manipulating Beth too.
Oh, yeah. That's probably most likely what's happening. So
What is it about that pussy that made people crazy?
it made it a green flag. I'm telling you. So,
Oh, incorrect.
so Gus is up there, his partner and everything. He's like, wait in the car. He goes up in the building. And then Michael Douglas looks up in the windows and notices on the fourth floor that something's going wrong. He knows about the book and he's like, no way.
It takes him
Yes
a long
way.
time to
Takes
figure
him
it
way
out,
too long.
though.
I knew
So-
immediately. I was like, oh, there's multiple floors. He's gonna die in an elevator with his legs sticking out.
The same book ending as her book.
Yeah.
So
No dirt.
it all happens. But Beth comes out and goes, what's going on? And of course, Michael Douglas's character is all freaked out. And he's like, stay right there. She doesn't. She starts to reach in her pocket. He's like, don't put your hand in your pocket. Take your hand in your pocket. She's like, what are you doing? Keeps approaching and pulls her hands out and he shoots her only to find out it was his spare keys to his apartment.
Right.
So then we got two dead people. But then when the cops go to do the research, they find a ton of evidence in Beth's apartment because they're already
Which was a little
investigating
too
her.
clean.
A little too obvious.
The books.
I'm telling you.
The articles.
It was Catherine all along.
A police
Mm-hmm.
parka that only Beth could have gotten.
Are we sure about that? I'll be
Only
sure
Beth
about
could have
that.
cut.
I mean,
From the first
And an
film,
ice
it's
pick.
very clear that cops can be rats.
and Catherine is a very big manipulator, so she probably manipulated a lot of people.
Who knows where that pussy
Or
been?
maybe when she killed the cop with the gun, she took his poncho from his
Which
car.
Dun, dun.
From his car.
Yeah.
Which cop?
The cop that died, Nielsen or whatever.
The one that like
Oh, Schnappies.
Schnappies.
Ha ha.
Ha ha. That would make more sense. If it was Catherine all along, that would make more sense to me.
So why would he have a rain parka if he's IA? Wouldn't it be like internal investigation? No, it's kidding.
I'm
So
going to keep docking the screenplay, let me tell you.
if you're still talking about the mystery, it can't be that bad. It's $3 million. And a green flag. So eventually,
So now I'm wondering about myself because if he's calling her a green flag and he married
Sharon Stone.
okay.
Who am I
And
sitting in
this
a
is-
room with?
All right, so let's finish it up. So eventually, what happens is he sees like, aha, she's vindicated. It's great. And at one point, she's like, well, how do you feel like this is gonna end up with us? And he quotes, was it Gus? Yeah, it was
Something.
Gus. And he's like, we're gonna, how do you
We're
really
going
put
to
it?
fuck like rabbits or something like that.
Yeah,
We're gonna
Have a
have
bunch of rugrats
Rugrats
and live happily ever after.
yeah.
And she's like,
she's
I
kind of,
don't want rugrats. He's like, all right, scratch the fucking rugrats.
yeah. She's just
Yeah.
like chuckles or whatever. And then they eventually, while they're having sex, it pans down and it looks like she's about to reach for something, but it's just the sheet. But still, it pans down until it reveals
nothing.
the ice pick because she dropped it. There was a champagne bucket over there. She was completely innocent. So
Sure. Okay.
what?
Red flag.
She was a green flag.
Oh my
She was
god.
gonna kill him.
Intelligent.
He'd be the kind that gets manipulated into being murdered.
Because he's penis dumb.
Why is that saying Nick?
I know it's better. I was gonna pose a question: is it better to be naive and dumb, or penis dumb?
One is a lot more fun.
No, okay, listen. Yeah, naive and dumb, you can kind of like be like, oh, okay, that's just kind of how they are. They didn't reach above a 5th grade comprehension level, They're just that stupid. But penis dumb, Michael Douglas is obviously not dumb,
Right.
so that's even more infuriating. Stupid. Carry on.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says Catherine Trammell did nothing wrong.
I'm sure there's a
Free
group.
Catherine Trammell.
I'm sure there's a group that is very on your part
Look,
with that.
she was a
I'm
detective.
gonna get a shirt that says Nick is stupid, and you can debate which one I'm talking about.
Well, like, okay, she was a detective. Remember in that one show? I can't remember the name.
Magnum PI.
No.
I don't know what we were talking about.
Remember they had her as a guest. She had to figure out no script, all that stuff.
I know.
She Murderville.
Murderville. Yeah.
Muckduckville.
What?
Nothing. Anywho, screenplay.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Mm.
There is problems. Here's the biggest problem though that was notated. They had DNA evidence back then. Everybody knew this. It was not mentioned the entire time.
Well,
And they even
suspension of
said-
disbelief.
Well, even when
Yeah.
they're like combing over, there's a lot of cum here. Like,
Yeah, right. I wonder whose that is. I wondered that same thing. I was like, just swab his dick.
all right, Nelson, you're up.
My
You got
Nelson.
swabbing.
Clearly,
You got to
she
swab
didn't
the
use
deck.
Because clearly, well, I mean, it was his sheets. The
Yeah.
Rockstar sheets.
Sure.
Right, but
Good.
I'm sure there's some stuff on his willy,
Maybe they were.
on his Johnson. that
Maybe they were
could get.
alluding to the fact that he swung for both teams.
What? What?
I don't know.
I don't- we
All
are
right.
drawn.
Okay,
we
I
are
got
So what's the
drawing a lot of
ratings?
conclusions.
I got
I
nine.
got 8. You got
What'd you
9.
I got
Oh,
9.
I got a 7. I thought about a 6.
Why?
There were so many things.
She
that I
hates
was
green
like,
flags. She's intimidated
I,
by Catherine
It's not even the
Trammell.
fact that they're all a bunch of red flags. I can appreciate morally gray,
So the
shitty
psycho
characters.
bodybuilder, you said was a green flag.
No.
I thought you were treating her like a green flag.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I feel bad for her. They both were not. Again, I like morally gray characters. It's not about the characters.
Morally gray? She
Well-
killed 2 people. Mine killed 1.
It was an accident.
that's to be determined.
She was on drugs.
All right, so I
Thanks
gave this
for
a
that.
9.
I'm starting to see that there is a double standard here.
No, again, I don't mind that they are morally gray characters. I
You
like
keep
that.
saying that phrase.
They are. What do you mean? But I don't appreciate not knowing who the real murderers in these situations are. Okay?
Right, and that's and
There
actually
was not enough
that's why I gave it a
connecting.
9 because I like actually the whole debatable thing like who did she really kill? Did she really kill? As according to Nick, she didn't, but according to us, she did but they never really established that, and this is what gets me.
Yeah.
Good movie.
I think my whole thing is just like with Beth. I was confusion. Did she actually kill him? Did she not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the beauty of this movie.
Mm.
You have to keep guessing. You never really know.
7.
Well, at least it wasn't a 6. So,
Yeah.
All right, direction. What do you give it?
I gave it a 10.
I gave it a 10 too, mainly because when I started digging in, at first I was like, oh, it's good, nothing special, but it's good. Where it's supposed to be an erotic thriller, it's an erotic thriller. When it's supposed to be a detective, it's a detective. And I think the music really helped with that, and I'll get into that later. But for direction, I gave it a 10 out of 10 when I knew about the choreography. Like, no, we're going to storyboard this sex scene. You're going to move like this. You're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, wow, you wanted everything just right.
Yeah, I felt like that's what the director was going for. Like everything was just right as far as like the directing of the actors and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a time where I was just like, I didn't question what he was doing. In a sense.
Oh.
I gave it an 8. I thought it was all right. Again, I think there were some choices made that I would have liked to see done differently.
What'd you give the acting then?
An 8. Yeah, I thought it was good. I liked Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone. I felt like a lot of it was so much yelling. There was so much yelling. I was like, okay, guys, chill. You don't have to.
I still like we said. There's so much testosterone in this
For
movie.
real, I was like, guys.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
I don't
that's-
know. I felt like
This
maybe
is-
there was just too many men.
I'm sitting there like, this is the best erotic thriller of my life. And I'm like, oh, it kind of makes sense after your commentary. I'm like, it's catered to people like me.
Yeah, men.
I give it a 10.
Green flag, Sharon Stone. No, it's good. Anyways, 10.
I gave it a 10 because like I still don't know who did that shit, and it's driving me crazy, but in a good way.
Like how many? You kind of
And-
know Catherine, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just finding the times when they're acting a certain way.
True.
Right.
Because we know Roxy was crazy. We know that for a fact.
Right.
Um,
I still have. Oh, that's another thing. I still have no idea what the fuck the point of having that older woman was. Why was she always hanging around after we
to-
found out? She was kind of freaking like.
Yeah, she was weird. I think there was the fact that it's like, oh, she might be writing another book, so she surrounds herself with killers all the time. So just because she happens to be near killers doesn't make it her killer. So it's just to kind of throw another red herring, I think.
Well, if you think about it, when they showed the pictures of her slitting the kid's throat or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Roxy.
Roxy did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Roxy did that.
They
with a little
talked about
bit.
her murdering her family, though, but I
Yeah.
think she already did her
They
time.
were both
which-
family murderers,
Right.
which maybe.
I
accused her.
thought I thought that the picture with the kid with the slit throat was the older woman.
Mm-mm.
Well, that's only because she talked. I mean, I know what
Well,
you're
then
talking
now I
about,
don't
though, because they talked about the older lady killing her husband and her 2 kids.
Right.
And then Roxy killed,
Her 2 brothers.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
The 2
Well,
little
because like I
boys.
noticed when at the end, Gus's throat was slit, like it was in the picture.
I thought that was just blood because
Oh.
it was all ice picks.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. Anyhow, see,
That doesn't make it a 7. It makes it mysterious. Well, I gave acting a 9. It was the 9 is as high as it is because the sex scenes are so hard to deal with, and I think they did a great job. And the rest of it, where I get a dock of point is, there was a bit too much yelling. I was like,
There was a lot.
yeah, I was like, it's a bit
of
much.
heightened emotions.
It's a bit much.
Yeah. What about cinematography?
There were some creative shots, but overall, just an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
I
Nothing
think 7.
special.
It's about the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave editing a 7 as well.
I give it a 10. I didn't feel like there was any long places. I mean, I guess I could dock it because some places I do feel like it should have been more, but
I gave it an 8, just because it runs long in some places,
It does, yeah.
and I feel like other places it could have ran longer, but there's other places where I'm like, okay, this is an hour and 49. You're making it feel longer.
I thought it was 2 hours.
it was 2 hours.
Oh, it was 2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe I mixed it up with another
I
film.
think, yeah, because I think the other one was like an hour 40.
Yeah.
But this one was 2 hours.
Like
Like I
this-
remember looking it up and going, oh.
The story itself was fine. It was just certain parts I was like, eh.
Yeah. So I'm
Music.
guessing you rated the music, like the score high.
Oh yeah, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Jerry
give it a 10 out of
Goldsmith,
10.
he also did like things like Star Trek, but what was cool about this one is the main theme made you kind of feel like it was about a Black Widow, and you could hear the strings when they would cascade down, like it felt like web, like, just little strings of web being pulled down as he was doing it.
That's
Because
quite
it's
cool.
always like a kind of a feel to that main theme when you'd hear Catherine Trammell was going to be involved in the next scene. You'd hear it.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't pick up on that.
it was just really cool because you got this nod to the fact that who's weaving what, and she's the Black Widow. So that's how you
Cool.
kind of know it's like, no, she really is the one weaving the web.
The red flag.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's just, and I'll say why, because
Catherine
in the
Defender
end,
for life.
she wrote the ending that he was going to die, but then didn't kill him. So she
Right.
truly
So
loved
she
him.
only murdered a few people.
One that we know of.
Well,
She probably murdered her parents.
maybe she doesn't feel like
I
murdering him
mean-
at that second. I mean, who knows?
We don't have to do in-law visits, so that's pretty.
We?
Sorry, he doesn't.
I'm like,
Do, 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 do.
Anywho. I gave the music score an 8. I don't know. I feel like for music, unless there are a few films that like musically get to me, like
Yeah,
make me feel like ooh or what, and this just I don't think I remember any of them. So
it's
give
really
it
just
an 8.
enhance
It
what
wasn't.
you
It
see.
didn't take me out of it at all, but I wasn't like overwhelmed with.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
no Hans Zimmer. Sorry.
yeah, that's a tough one to go with. If we go with Jerry Goldsmith, if you checked out his Star Trek
Yeah.
scores, then yeah, because especially when you got like some of the iconic things you'd hear from, well, not just Star Trek themes, but also like the Klingon theme when he came up with that. Oh, so cool, so
Love
cool.
it. Love it.
Total Recall too. I think he did. Trying to think of all the things he's done, but it's just good stuff.
Nice.
special effects.
I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 10 out of 10 because that
I
ice
gave it an
pick
8.
and getting hit by the car was
Oh,
so
I mean,
like,
getting hit by the
whoa.
car was really good,
Mm.
but I don't know. The blood seemed fake.
Really?
Yeah.
I bleed that brightly.
Oh.
Like when I cut myself, like a shaving or whatever.
Oh.
You know?
Oh.
You want to
Right.
see? He'll just do it right now. Just kidding.
I'll just rip off my face.
I
Don't
do
worry,
have a
he does
face.
this.
Yeah, it really hurts.
Uh,
It's like martyrs. Just
yeah, I don't know.
don't touch it.
It just,
Overall,
overall. 7.
All right. Keep stream or skip it.
Oh, stream it. It was still good.
I gave it a 9, and I will keep it because I want to watch it again to see who the murderer really truly is.
Yeah. Track that crap.
9. I gave it a 9. I said keep it.
Nice.
That's
Because he likes his green
Because
flag.
he likes his green flag.
I'll watch it again.
While I'm not at home.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Oh.
He'll make you watch like Roxy.
Oh. Wow. Well, that's gonna ban it on YouTube.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for everybody right now.
I
had
am
to
too.
picture all that.
This was our rated R episode for sure.
Yeah,
For sure. We
yeah.
had our fun, cute, romantic, whatever, and this was our
Don't slap her with a tortilla. What got you slapped?
What tickled you?
The
Was
cute
it like an
romantic.
8-foot tall woman?
Yeah. Maybe that's what it wasn't a canyon they were going through in the first part of that film. You said it was like,
That's what I'm saying. It was
because she was
her
actually a
vagina.
giant. Yeah.
I knew it. That was the symbolism.
Lots of canyons.
Yeah.
So,
That could have been a theme.
so thanks for kind of hanging out with us, especially dealing with my voice being under the weather. But any final thoughts on green flags?
Nope.
Where?
What are you talking about?
There were none.
Where?
Neither one of these movies had green flag people
Anywhere.
in them, and
Anywhere in it
You know
was
what
there a
the
green
theme
flag.
of erotic thrillers are is not caring if it's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where
For-
the thrill
for
comes in.
men,
Yeah.
if you're a guy.
Yeah, if you're a guy, Basic Instinct, buddy.
That's
You'll
the one
thank me
for you,
later.
huh? All right.
Bye.
Nick's gonna go have fun.
Ah! Gross.
How
My
dare
God.
you?
Sharon Stone, give me a call.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.